The late Jurassic was a world sculpted by thirst. A relentless cycle of wet and dry seasons dictated the rhythm of life. And for the largest animals to ever walk the earth, this rhythm was a drumbeat, marching them towards an annual ordeal. A herd of Brachiosaurus, titans of this age, must move or starve. This is the story of that journey, a monumental migration that was not merely a trek across ancient floodplains, but a life or death passage through a landscape of ambush. Now, let's open the fossil record and resurrect the story of this Jurassic titan. The Brachiosaurus itself is an icon of scale, reaching lengths of over 20 meters and standing nearly 13 meters tall. An adult was less an animal and more a mobile ecosystem. Its very anatomy speaks to a life lived at a different magnitude. The immensely long neck, supported by a complex system of lightweight, air-filled vertebrae, was not a biological indulgence, but a masterclass in engineering, allowing it to browse the high canopies of conifers and cycads far beyond the reach of any competitor. This was its exclusive ecological niche, a high-level browser that consumed vast quantities of vegetation daily. When we analyze the structure of its peg-like teeth, we see they were built for stripping foliage, not for chewing. This creature was a living harvesting machine, its gigantic gut doing the long work of fermentation. Its movement was ponderous, deliberate, each footfall a minor tremor. To the casual observer, it might seem invincible, a walking mountain of flesh and bone. But no mountain is without its hunters. This world was not empty. Patrolling the forests and open plains was a predator perfectly honed to tackle giants. Allosaurus. A large theropod, Allosaurus was the antithesis of Brachiosaurus in almost every way. Where the Sauropod was built for immense size and passive consumption, the Allosaurus was a masterpiece of active, predatory design. Its skeleton, while robust, was suffused with avian-like air sacs, granting it a surprising degree of agility for an animal of its size. Its true weapons were at the front. A powerful neck, a light but incredibly strong skull, and a gape filled with recurved blade-like teeth. Unlike the bone-crushing bite of the later Tyrannosaurus, the skull of Allosaurus seems adapted for a different killing method. When we examine the biomechanics, we find it likely used its powerful neck muscles to drive its upper jaw down like a hatchet, inflicting massive, bleeding wounds. It was an ambush predator, built not to overpower its prey in a single instant, but to wound, weaken, and wait. The stage for conflict is set by the changing seasons. As the local flora is depleted, the great sauropod herds are forced onto ancient migratory paths, a predictable, annual event. For the resident carnivores, this is a recurring feast. The fossil record from formations like the Morrison in North America shows these two animals coexisting in the same environment for millions of years. It was an inescapable ecological reality. The survival of one was inextricably linked to the death of the other. As the Brachiosaurus herd begins its slow, earth-shaking journey towards greener pastures, they are not alone. Shadows move between the ferns, and watchful eyes track their progress. The gathering storm is not one of weather, but of teeth and claws. The first test comes not as a thunderous charge, but as a calculated assessment. A small pack of Allosaurus, perhaps 3 or 4 individuals, breaks cover from a grove of giant tree ferns. They do not rush the herd. Instead, they parallel its course, their powerful legs carrying them in a low, efficient trot. This is a hunt of intelligence and endurance. For the predators, the herd is not a monolith. It is a puzzle. They are searching for a weakness, a juvenile straying too far from its mother, an older individual lagging at the rear, or any sign of sickness or injury. The sheer scale of a healthy adult Brachiosaurus is a formidable deterrent. Weighing upwards of 50 tons, its hide, thick and leathery, it was a walking citadel. A direct assault by an Allosaurus would be suicidal, like a wolf attacking a battleship. The predators knew this, Their strategy relied on precision, not brute force. In response to the threat, the herd's passive defense transitions into an active, coordinated strategy. The slow, rhythmic pace of the migration subtly changes. The larger adults, the great bulls and matriarchs, begin to shift their positions. We can infer this sophisticated behavior from fossil trackways, where patterns clearly show smaller footprints concentrated in the center, flanked by the much larger tracks of the adults. It is a living fortress in motion. The most vulnerable members of the herd are enveloped within a wall of colossal bodies. The advantage is not just physical protection. From their towering height, the adults possess the ultimate vantage point, their eyes scanning the horizon for kilometers in every direction. The herd becomes a collective sensory organ, with dozens of pairs of eyes and ears, all attuned to the landscape, making a surprise attack nearly impossible on open ground. The predators press their advantage, attempting to create panic. One Allosaurus might feign a charge, a burst of speed aimed at a younger sauropod on the periphery, designed to test the herd's reaction. The response is immediate and immense. A deep, resonant call, a sound likely so low in frequency it was felt as much as it was heard, ripples through the herd. While we have no direct fossil evidence of their vocalizations, the sheer size of their nasal cavities and throat passages suggests an ability to produce powerful sounds, perhaps akin to the infrasound used by modern elephants to communicate over vast distances. The great adults turn to face the threat, their long necks allowing them to keep their bodies angled protectively inwards while still confronting the enemy. They do not need specialized weapons. Their bodies are the weapons. A single stomp from a foot the size of a large platter would be instantly crushing. Their long, muscular tails, while not the whip-like weapons of their diplodocid cousins, could still sweep with tremendous force, capable of breaking bones and knocking a predator off its feet. The confrontation becomes a tense war of nerves. The Allosaurus pack circles, probing the formation, looking for a lapse in concentration. They are masters of the sustained hunt, capable of following the herd for days, waiting for exhaustion to create an opportunity. Their attack strategy, as we understand it from biomechanical studies, was to inflict deep, debilitating wounds with their serrated teeth, causing massive blood loss. A single successful bite on a leg or flank of a subadult could be the beginning of the end. But getting close enough to deliver that bite is the challenge. The sauropods refuse to break formation. They shift their weight, stamp their feet in unison, and use their incredible size to present an unbreakable, intimidating front. This is not the behavior of a witless, lumbering beast of popular myth. It is the complex, instinctual choreography of survival, honed over millions of years of co-evolution between predator and prey. For now, the fortress holds. The Allosaurus pack, realizing the herd's defense is too strong, fades back into the tree line. They have not given up. They will shadow the giants, waiting. The migration continues, but the encounter has taken its toll. A stark reminder that every step on this long journey is a gamble. This story of strategy, defense, and relentless pressure is not mere speculation. It is a narrative written in stone, a silent drama we have learned to read from the earth itself. The most compelling evidence for these epic journeys and their attendant dangers comes from fossil trackways. At sites around the world, we find rock slabs that were once Jurassic mudflats, preserving the footprints of these animals with astonishing clarity. When we analyze these ichnofossils, the scientific term for trace fossils like tracks, we see more than just a path. We see behavior. We can map the movement of an entire herd, noting the tight clustering of smaller, juvenile prints sheltered within the perimeter of massive adult tracks. In some extraordinary examples, the deliberate, evenly spaced tracks of a sauropod herd are paralleled or even intercepted by the three-toed tracks of a large theropod. They tell a story of pursuit, of a predator shadowing its potential meal, confirming the tense, drawn-out nature of these encounters. The story becomes even more visceral when we look at the bones themselves. Paleopathology, the study of ancient injury and disease, turns skeletons into forensic files. We have found sauropod bones, particularly from vertebrae and hip regions, bearing the distinct gouges and punctures from the teeth of large carnivores like Allosaurus. Some of these injuries show signs of healing, meaning the sauropods survived the attack. One famous specimen of an Allosaurus, nicknamed Big Al, shows a staggering number of injuries, including infections and broken bones, attesting to the incredibly dangerous life it led. A hunt against an animal 50 times its weight was a gamble where even the predator could pay the ultimate price. These fossilized wounds are the echoes of a struggle, a moment of violent confrontation frozen for 150 million years. They prove that these hunts happened, and that the defensive strategies of the sauropods were often successful. The myth of the slow, defenseless giant is shattered by this evidence. In its place stands a resilient survivor, fully equipped to defend itself and its young. The land of predators was not a slaughterhouse, but an arena where two evolutionary masterpieces were locked in a constant, high-stakes battle for survival. The relentless struggle between the hunter and the hunted was more than a series of isolated events. It was the engine of evolution itself. The constant pressure exerted by predators like Allosaurus shaped the immense size and complex social behaviors of the Brachiosaurus, leaving behind a legacy written not only in bone and stone, but in the very fabric of this dynamic, interconnected world, where survival was the ultimate masterpiece.